Break and Retest has literally made me a millionaire. Like, I am not even kidding. An actual millionaire. Break and Retest made me $26,000 in 12 hours. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Break and Retest to your advantage and have an edge on the market. Which Break and Retest is one of the most common patterns in the whole entire market. That's why it's made me so much money, and a lot of people, they try and figure it out, but they simply don't get it. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to teach you how to properly use Break and Retest. Oh, and keep in mind, if you really understand and you comprehend the Break and Retest strategy, you literally don't have to worry about anything else. Because Break and Retest happens literally every single day in the market. And it's so easy to comprehend because it's that simple. It's literally what it is, Break and Retest. You're gonna see it every single day in the market. But it's almost so simple that a lot of people, they overcomplicate it. They try to see it further than a Break and Retest. There's just simple, it's a Break and Retest and that's it. So it's simple, don't overthink it, but I'm gonna make it clear in this video. So let's get into it. But before getting into the actual charts, let me show you what this pattern looks like. And it's this right here. Looks simple, right? Looks like a Break and Retest. Looks like prices breaking, retesting, and then heading to the upside. Obviously, if you flip it around, prices then breaking, retest, and then heading to the downside. Well, that's pretty much it. Like I just said, it's something very simple and it happens every single day in the market. It can happen across all different time frames, and it can happen across all different currency pairs, all different commodities, futures, stocks, anything. Because it's a Break and Retest, the market has to move up and down, and as it's moving up and down, it leaves this pattern known as Break and Retest. And what price wants to communicate to you with a Break and Retest is a continuation. Break and Retest is a continuation pattern, but prices can't continuously go up forever. It has to have 1 second to then pause, have a small retracement to then continue heading to the upside. It's almost like if you're in the gym and you want to hit multiple reps in your set. In order for you to hit that next rep, you have to take a breath, you have to take a break for about a second or two, and then you can go ahead and hit it again. It's the same thing here with the market, just the market obviously doesn't stop and breathe. The market is always moving, but the retracement of the market coming back and retesting is its form of breathing so that it can have the next push and it could push the next rep to the market continue in the direction that it was originally headed to then do. And Break and Retest kind of works everywhere, but not really. It works best at a strong area, whether it's a support and resistance, supply and demand, area of interest, it's all the same thing. It's a price where once price breaks, price can use that retracement at a point for it to hold on for about a second or two, and then it continue heading to the upside or continue heading to the downside. Now, Break and Retest is most effective at these zones, and these zones are obviously known as support and resistance, supply and demand, area of interest. It's all the same thing. It's a resting point for price to then create accumulation to then push to the next zone. So now let's actually get into the market so I can show you some very clear examples of how Break and Retest works. So as you guys can see right here, this to some of you guys might look like a very messy chart, or obviously a chart that goes to the upside, but you can't really see it clear. But little do you know, there is about 5 to 6 different examples of a very clear Break and Retest that happens here continuously. Now, this chart, we are on the daily time frame. And I want you to keep in mind, Break and Retest happens on every single time frame. It can happen on the daily, the weekly, the 1 minute, 2 minute, doesn't matter. But keep in note that the higher the time frame, the more it is going to be respected. So if you have a Break and Retest on the daily, it's going to be much more respected than a Break and Retest on the 5 minute. I personally like using my Break and Retest on the 4 hour, daily, to continuation trades, and then for entries on the lower time frames. But all of that, it's gonna make sense right now. So as you guys can see right here, GBP NZD, this is a prime example of a trend continuation, break, and then retest. And the way you mark up Break and Retest is simply by using this little box right here. Now, it doesn't matter the size of the box. It can be this big, can be this big, as long as you kind of get enough room so you can get the multiple taps into it. So a perfect example of a first Break and Retest is this zone right here. For it to be a valid level of a Break and Retest, you need to have a minimum of 1 structure point for price to literally be able to then break the zone and then come back and then retest it. So as you can tell right here, this is the level of resistance. Price has then broken it, and then we have then retested it. So this is a perfect example of a Break and Retest. Now that we have broken this zone and we have retested it, this right here turns into the next structure point that we can then have the Break and Retest. So as you can see right here, I get my trusty zone, and now this is the resistance level. We break it, retest it, and then we have a simple continuation. Remember, Break and Retest is a continuation pattern. It's so price has a break. In the retest, it has a breathing room. It's able to now get ready to then continue heading in that direction. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Next, we have our next zone, which is the next high point, which is this point right here, mark it off as a zone, and you can see how price clearly breaks and then retest it. And this goes on and on and on. And then you can also see how it does it to now the downside. So as you can see here, this was marked off as a high point, but then price was never able to then retest this structure point right here. This would have been an ideal break, retest to then head to the upside. But this is a perfect example of what didn't happen, which you didn't get any entry signal, you didn't get an engulfing candlestick and all that stuff. If you want to know more about a bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing, and how you can use that effectively with break and retest, just look at this video right here. It's going to explain to you how to properly use an engulfing candlestick with trend continuation. But with that being said, this right here would have been an ideal break and retest, but you didn't get that engulfing candlestick that I'm talking about. So then price completely broke under, and then what did we do? We broke and then retested the next structure point, which is this point right here. And we can just simply keep this going with every single structure point that the market presents us with. For example, this next low right here, we have simply then broke and then retested it and continue heading to the downside. This is very clear. It's simple. It's just a step. Price has to have a high, have to have a retracement, so continue having a high. And if we're heading to the downside, price has to have a low and has to have a lower high. So then we continue heading to the downside. It's a very simple pattern. And ideally to use it for your day trades, you want to use it more on the 4 hour, 1 hour, depending on how approach you want to take it. For your intraday and swing trades, you want to take it on the daily and then weekly time frame. Keep in mind, the higher the time frame, the more respected the break and retest is going to be. So now that you understand what a break and retest looks like, let's actually see how you can enter the trade, put a stop loss and a take profit. So the break and retest is to identify trend continuation. But now the actual entry signal, you have to go on the lower time frame. So for this example right here, we're just gonna zone this off, right? I'm just picking random parts in the chart. I didn't even pre-record this or pre-notice the zones. I just popped it up. I literally have this zone right here. So we're just gonna see all of these breaks and retests and see how we could have gone in every single one of these trades. So for example, let's just go down to the 4 hour. So if we scroll left, we can see this example right here. So this is a perfect example right here of our first break and retest, which is this trade right here. As you can see, price has then broken this zone. So then this is the area where we are expecting price to then come back and then retest. And as we're having the retest, in order for us to take a trade, we need to have a bullish engulfing candlestick confirmation. So if you see right here, we have the retracement, we're rejecting the previous structure level, we're having the break, and now we're having the retest. So here you can see we're clearly having the break, and now we're having the retest. But how do you know the retest is done? How do you know that this is the area where you're now going to reject from and now have a higher high move? Well, very simple, because you have rejection candlesticks, and it does not get more clear than what you're seeing right here, which is actually a series of bullish engulfing morning star formation, which you have 3 doji candlestick rejections, 1 bullish engulfing. You would have simply put your entry point right here, and then you would have put your stop loss right under this point. And then your take profit would have been based off of a minimum of a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Simple. Look at that, how it hits the take profit perfectly. Does not get any more simple than that. But if that's not enough, we'll continue on to our next trade, which would be this point right here, which this is the high. So now we have the next break. And then after the next break, we then have our retest, which would be this point right here. And then we would enter our trade after this bullish engulfing. We would have our entry point right there, and our stop loss point would be right here. If we were to have a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, we simply just scroll this to the right. This example, you would have simply been wicked out simply because the market had fluctuation. It is what it is, it happens, but we keep it going, we don't stop. So then the next break and retest would happen at this point right here. Price then breaks, retest. On this break and retest right here, you have that morning star formation, bullish engulfing candlestick. It's literally the same thing every single time. Your stop loss is right under it. You have a minimum of a 1 to 2 risk to reward, and then this trade hit. So if you notice, out of the 3 trades, you had 1 that you caught a minimum of a 1 to 2. So you, let's say if you risked 1%, you got 2% on this trade. You lost 1% on this trade, so now you're down 1%. But now plus 2%, you're a net profit over 3% on these 3 trades that could have happened in a matter of 48 hours. You multiply 3% in 48 hours, and let's say you only take that once a week. You multiply that 3% that you made in 1 week times 4 weeks that you have in the market, you can average anywhere from 9 to 12% a month. That's more than any single bank, any single institution with a simple break and retest strategy. There's nothing that I'm doing different other than just break and retest and bullish engulfing candlestick. And everything I've showed you in this video is an example of what I do with my set and forget strategy. It's something that I've been using for the last 5.5 years, and it's clearly making me money every single day. I actually want to see how I am in the trade right now. As of right now in the trade, we are currently about $37,000 in profit, and you guys can see it happening right there live right now. And these aren't my only numbers. Students that use my set and forget strategy make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week as a beginner set and forget trader. Now, if you're probably wondering what is set and forget and how you can use it and make numbers like these, just click the link in the description below. There's a video that explains to you exactly what set and forget is and how it makes traders in the first 3 months of using set and forget to make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week as a beginner set and forget trader. So if you want to know more about set and forget and how you can use it every single day along with the break and retest strategy, so you can use the set and forget in combination with it all and make numbers like these, just click the link in the description below. I have a video there for you that's going to explain absolutely everything. And I hope you guys found this video useful. Appreciate you guys watching this video all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.